Now, road safety in Metro Manila remains a complex issue tied to traffic, mobility, and urban planning. While cars still dominate the streets, our guest today is literally pedaling for change, pushing for safer roads for cyclists and active commuters. Joining us is content creator and cycling advocate Buji Babiera. It's a beautiful day, Buji. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
Of course, good morning.
All right, Buji, let's start off first kung paano ka nagsimula. Because actually, you're just doing some research. A mutual friend of ours actually encouraged you to start cycling. Si Jilson Chu, who is a great photographer, apparently cyclist also, helped you get started. How did this start out? Because if I'm not mistaken, the pandemic played a big part, especially with the whole, dati bikes were the way to go in terms of making sure your livelihood mo is okay.
So, during the pandemic, diba, it was a lockdown.
Yeah.
I never imagined myself before na magbabike talaga ako. Parang sabi ko, it's dangerous, crazy yung mga nagbabike dito sa Metro Manila. But then, you know, diba parang we were stuck at home for a very long time. Tapos si Jelson, he was telling me na parang, magbike ka, parang you'll get to roam around, it's easier, yung access, ganyan. Sabi ko, no, are you crazy? Ganyan, parang it's dangerous. Sabi niya, no, it's not dangerous. I have an extra bike here. Punta ka dito, papahiramin kita. And then, he was still living in Binondo during that time. So from Binondo, hiniram ko yung bamboo bike niya.
Okay.
I think it was a heavy bike.
Bam bike ba yun?
Oh, bam bike. And then from Binondo, nagbike kami to Pasay.
Okay.
Sa may CCP complex. Tapos sabi ko, wow, parang there's a sense of freedom, there's a sense of fun. It's parang mental health restored, ganyan. So, sabi ko, I like this. And then after a week, bumili na ako ng sarili kong bisikleta.
Hindi libre ni Jelson.
Hindi.
Pero kasalanan niya.
Kasalanan niya. Siya yung nambudol sa akin.
So now you are a cyclist and you're advocating for road safety, safe road sharing. Ano bang nag-trigger for for you to focus on these very important issues? Kasi I did a little bit of research about Buji and I saw something about shinare mo on a TikTok video your very first semplang, your very first solo semplang. So was this the reason why you started focusing on advocating for road safety? Can you tell us more about that story?
Before the pandemic, I used to drive a lot. Like a lot.
Okay.
Parang I was working as a journalist noon. So every time I write a story, parang I would go out and drive in the, parang at night just to clear my head. Pero hindi ko yung nagagawa during morning kasi traffic was crazy.
Yeah.
Tapos, nung nagbike ako, and then I started going from Manila to Marikina, to Antipolo, to Pasig. Sabi ko, uy, pwede ito viable pala yung bike as a mode of transport. And if people would bike and they would not use their cars, those who are able to ride the bike, there will be less cars on the road, less congestion, and it's, would give space to those who are not able to have other alternative modes of transport. So sabi ko, sige, I'd advocate more, I'd encourage more people to ride the bike. And along the way, I realized that the main concern of people is safety. Parang they will not bike because it's not safe. So sabi ko, how would I encourage people to ride the bike? And that was the reason why I became an advocate. Kasi parang to encourage more people to ride the bike, you must encourage people to keep the road safe. And make sure that they're safe. And regarding that semplang, that's just like a random adventure.
It happens.
And it just happened that I was documenting it.
Oh, you were?
Buti na naka-on yung
Tapos nung
camera.
nahulog ka, the camera was recording everything?
Yeah, it was recording
that's crazy.
everything. Tapos sabi ko, uy, pwede yung moment to tell people na parang, semplang.
Yeah.
You know, the reason why I was so interested in that story is because the only reason why I don't want to bike outside is ayokong sumemplang ulit. Because I had that one semplang story, because may construction by the side of the road, which is also a safety concern.
Yes.
Diba?
Well, that brings me to the point na we talk about the roads, right? And sharing the roads has always been an issue because kada LGU has a different approach to road sharing. There are some that do have bike lanes, dedicated bike lanes, but at the same time, there are some that willingly allow motorcycles to be part of the bike lane. Kasi motorbike naman daw yun eh.
Correct, yeah.
But when you take a look at yung mga infrastructure challenges, just what do you feel are the biggest concerns surrounding bikers now, cyclists now,
I guess
especially in the urban setting?
I guess yung not respecting our space and not recognizing that we are vulnerable road users. Like for example, recently, there was a cyclist who had a fatal crash. Kasi parang there was a delivery van parking sa bike lane along Shaw Boulevard in Pasig. And then he got out of the bike lane just like a normal day, di ba? Na parang, alis ako sa bike lane kasi may nakaharang. And apparently, the delivery driver opened the door without
Checking.
checking. Tapos natamaan yung biker, sumemplang siya. And
On rushing traffic.
and then may
Yes,
SUV
no.
na dumadaan. So, parang those is parang respecting our space, our safe space is one of the main concerns talaga.
You know, along Commonwealth Avenue, the MMDA is planning to, have the bike lane shared with motorcycle riders also. And I believe you also tackled that on one of your podcast sessions, that you shared your thoughts on their plan to also open the bike lanes along EDSA to motorcycle riders as well. What are your thoughts on this?
It's very dangerous to share a lane with motorized vehicles. I
Right.
recognize that people are saying na there's not enough space for motorized vehicles, but at the same time, I want to ask the question, what are we prioritizing? Are we prioritizing the privileged individuals who can go fast, who can, who are very comfortable in their vehicles, or should we prioritize people who are more vulnerable, who just wants to travel to reach their destination safe? Parang ganon.
When we talk about yung safety, and we always talk about yung infrastructure, we also mentioned you mentioned motorbike users, motorcycle users. They have a set of, they always try to advocate, these yung mga groups nila, rider safety by prioritizing ways to share the road, ways to work themselves into safe positions. Like, for example, avoiding blind sides of cars, especially when turning, avoiding certain lanes, especially, and having certain rules when changing lanes as well. For cyclists, does that exist as well? Because there are cycling communities. But in terms of urban road safety for cyclists, do you feel that there is enough education on both the cycling side as well to make sure that there are also incidents that can be avoided from the bike rider's point of view?
Yeah. On the cyclist point of view, of course, we have groups. We have, we are very much aware on social media, and there are awareness when it comes to safety. But we also have to recognize that many people who are on the road, they are not familiar with traffic rules as well, because they don't have driver's license. But social media helps, I guess, for them to be educated. That's why I'm also a driver. I also ride a motorbike. I drive a car, and as a holder of a driver's license, but it's also my responsibility to know that there are other non-drivers who do not know traffic rules, and biglang may susulpot na pedestrian, biglang merong susulpot na biker, and that I should be the one who should be careful on the road because I have a weapon, a quote-unquote weapon that can, hurt someone.
Yeah. And what's great, Anne, is that not only he mentioned that he rides motorcycles, he's still a driver, he's a cyclist, he's also a hiker.
Adventurer.
Adventurer. Hiker siya, pero dito lang sa Metro Manila.
Oo. Kaya mawawala na yun soon.
Hindi, Mount Shaw. Shaw Boulevard still there.
Shaw ba? No, I was thinking of
Mount Kamuning.
the Kamuning.
Mount Kamuning.
Yes.
Nadaanan na yan. I mean, like, look, I think it just goes back to the theme of mobility.
Ayan, they were
Kasi
showing it there. Ayan, with Pating
Pating
Hoy.
Yeah, Mount Kamuning, diba?
Yeah.
Ayan.
Tapos si Rocco Bell sa Mount Shaw. Siyempre si Rocco Bell sa Mount Shaw, by the way. Look, it's very much a satire on mobility dito sa Metro Manila. When you take a look at yung state of mobility here apart from cars, I mean like your initial thought on it, kasi we can go really deep into it.
I know.
Pero considering the fact that you've lived it in so many ways, just how can you think about it?
Unfortunately, na-normalize na talaga yung yung stressful commute moments, yung stressful mobility issues natin dito. So parang minsan tatawanan mo na lang talaga siya na parang parang sabi ko nga yung Metro Manila, it's a big fitness activity, di ba? Yung mga pedestrian
Parang
lanes.
obstacle course.
Pero taba natin lahat.
Yeah.
I know, di ba? Yun nga yung ang daming mga mountains in, Metro Manila. Apparently, when I did the video of hiking Mount Shaw and Mount Kamuning and even Mount Ortigas, marami nagsasabi, Mount Commonwealth naman, Mount C5 naman, ganyan. Apparently, daming bundok pala.
Iniisip ko, saan kaya yung Mount sa Commonwealth? Because I always pass through Commonwealth every day. Ano kaya yung mataas naming flyover? But speaking of social media content, you've also posted about cities who have, or cities that have car-free days.
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you support this initiative?
Now, I support car-free days because it makes us think na parang, this is a livable city. Na parang we can enjoy our streets without fearing for our lives, di ba? Kids, pets, old people can walk our streets na walang takot that they would be hit by a moving vehicle. So, ang saya lang.
I just have to, I always have a joke with friends, especially foreign-based friends who come over to the Philippines and experience Metro Manila for what it really is. Na the consensus is, ang ganda ng Metro Manila kapag walang traffic.
Correct.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Ang ganda, kaya pag Holy Week, I don't go out, di ba?
Holy Week, ang
Ganda
saya
ng
naman.
go out.
Holy Week, pag holidays, right? Oh my goodness.
Holy Week, I'm like, guys, umalis na kayo mag-Boracay. Guys,
You can just stay there out of town.
No, kasi ang saya.
Yes.
I don't know how to
There is just no
explain.
traffic. And parang nababawasan talaga yung pollution. You can see the air gets clearer, di ba?
As a South person, I see it every day as I go to Quezon City. Pero, different story yun. But when you take a look at the fact that it's such a, there's always that hope. Diba?
Yes.
Na we become a better society mobility-wise, right? And you advocating for cycling is one way to do it. So palagay mo ba, if there are more cyclists in general, if this becomes better, do you think that this could be one of the softer ways to be able to control yung congestion problem dito sa Metro Manila?
Yes. Promoting active mobility, public transport is really, really the key. Recently, I was in Paris and I was so impressed how the city managed to prioritize active mobility and public transport. And I was, I talked with my friends na based in Paris and they said na grabe, it's very livable. Gustong-gusto talaga nila yung nangyari dun sa city nila where the government prioritize people more than cars.
Yeah.
Buji, it's so interesting to see your content. Of course, there's a lot of comedy in there as well. So for those who want to follow you, where can they do so?
You can follow me on my social media accounts. It's Buji Babiera on Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok. Well, I'm also starting a YouTube channel.
Uy,
So,
subscribe na.
subscribe na kayo. Correct. And also, First Bike Ride, my cycling platform. It's on Facebook and on Instagram.
Ladies and gentlemen, Buji Babiera, content creator, cycling advocate. We really appreciate you for coming on over and ride safe.
And thank you very much.
Thank you,
Salamat.
Buji.
Let's all be safe.